What is going on, guys? Vertivoden. Today is just a day of news. So there is a Jack Smith, if you don't know, the guy who is going to put Donald Trump in prison, as I said well over a year ago, that motherfucker is going to prison. And that was just when I knew the Mar-a-Lago shit. I didn't even know the breadth and scope of the fake elector scheme. This is a small slice of it, but it's obviously, I think, the sort of well, you know, I don't want to say that. This is, I don't know if many people will get that reference. You know, when in The Princess Bride, Inigo finally confronts Count Rugen, and he stabs him a bunch of times, purposely not mortally wounding him, and waits till that opportune moment, then stabs him right in the heart. That's what this filing is. Now, this is 165 pages. I haven't read through the whole thing yet. Just the first page is fucking phenomenal. Now, a lot of people out there knew of the Supreme Court immunity ruling, and I talked about this a little bit, but it's not, while itself, the partial immunity ruling by Roberts and the Supreme Court, like, it's unbelievably just made up bullshit, this like immunity, that partial immunity that they're granting Trump. But they put in a fail-safe, which is basically saying that a president is only immune from prosecution for official acts. There is no possible way that sedition, inciting an insurrection, and looking to defraud the people of the United States via a fake elector scheme, there's no, well, let me put it this way. There is no judge, jury, prosecutor that can seriously, in good faith, argue that any of those things are within the scope of a official presidential act, right? They are all crimes that any other individual would go to prison for. And we've already seen that across the scale. Boots on the ground, and they're still looking for him, right? We're now like, you know, almost 3.5 years post January 6th, and they're still finding people, ironically using AI and face recognition software. And they're still going to jail. I just saw a guy who knocked out a police officer, got 8 years. And that's just for boots on the ground. They've been slowly working their way up. Now, as this has unfolded, most of the fake electoral delegates, meaning the people that are either officially work for the government or indirectly work for their local governments, who drafted these fake elector schemes and who, like, there's no other word, a legal term, but a conspiracy to defraud the United States. I would say 3/4 of them have already flipped. Jenna Ellis being the most recent big one, who I think even most mega crackpots thought she wouldn't flip. She did. They have all and are currently working for the federal government to strengthen this case on a state level against Trump. That hasn't even been, that's not even part of this. That's separate, right? This is just from the federal side. This is not from the state side. And every state will be prosecuted individually. Not like they do arbitration for this. Anyway. Woo! So excited. So anyway, the immunity ruling that Trump thought was going to keep him out of prison, it's not going to. So the very first page of this filing that was unsealed, and it's partially redacted, but most of this is not, and it's pretty damning. The defendant asserts that he is immune from prosecution for his criminal scheme to overturn the 2020 election because he claims it entailed official conduct. That's the first line. Oh, mwah! Not so. Period. Fucking love that. Although the defendant was the incumbent president, I almost said incumbent, during the charged conspiracies, his scheme was fraudulently a private one. Now we see the adjustment of this filing, right? They have to specifically say that this was a private act. It was not official in any way whatsoever. Working with a team of private co-conspirators, aka the people who have flipped, the defendant acted as a candidate when he pursued multiple criminal means to disrupt, through fraud and deceit, the government function by which votes are collected and counted, a function in which the defendant, as president, had no official role. In Trump v. United States, the Supreme Court held that presidents are immune from prosecution for certain official conduct, including the defendant's use of the Justice Department in furtherance of his scheme, as was alleged in the original indictment, and remanded to this court to determine whether the remaining allegations against the defendant are immunized. This is what they are arguing right now. And he literally answers his own question. He's like literally telling the court. The answer to that question is no. This motion provides a comprehensive account of the defendant's private criminal conduct, sets forth the legal framework created by Trump for resolving immunity claims, applies that framework to establish that none of the defendant's charged conduct is immunized because it either was unofficial or any presumptive immunity is rebutted, and requests the relief the government seeks, which is, at the bottom, this: that the court determined that the defendant must stand trial for his private crimes as would any other citizen. Booyah, bitch! And then we have 164 glorious pages of mostly unredacted. This goes in here. I think it's page 65. I could be wrong. Where it talks about Bill Barr, the quote unquote attorney general under Trump. What a festering ass pustule he is. He goes over, and I think it's in here where he even tells Trump and the vice president directly that there is no fraud, that they cannot find it anywhere. And this is before January 6th. Oh, I think I got the wrong page. And this is a big one here. I want to say, let's see. Hope I don't get this. Because the page, do the pages match? No, they do. Yeah, this is on court court listener. 3. Now we're looking for statements. Man, I might not have this. So basically, what I was looking for, I read it a little bit earlier. An unnamed person ran into the... this is it. Here we go. Oh my God, this is great. We don't know who these people are, right? So we got like P59, P71, P9. So this is to protect the witnesses and the people who have given accounts. This is purposely redacted. How this plays out after this is all done, I have no idea. It was at that point alone, watching news in real time and with the knowledge that rioters had breached the Capitol building, that the defendant issued the 2:40 or 2:24 p.m. tweet attacking Pence for refusing the defendants' entreaties to join the conspiracy and help overturn the results of the election. 1 minute later, the Secret Service was forced to evacuate Pence to a secure location in the Capitol. This was roughly 90 minutes after Pence announced publicly that he would not act unlawfully to overturn the election. This is why they wanted to hang him. And if you don't believe me, don't look at the pictures. They literally created a not a guillotine, like they created a noose. They created like a little, there's a term for it, like a hanging station. And they were literally recorded chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." This is also why Mike Pence is not on the ticket anymore. JD Couchfucker Vance is. The certification proceeding was underway, and the first breach of the Capitol building had occurred minutes before at 2:12 p.m. At that point, the defendant's only hope to disrupt the certification proceeding and retain power was through his angry supporters, the rioters, the insurrectionists, those going to jail, and rightfully so. The defendant further revealed the private nature of his desperate conduct as a candidate rather than a president, and in an exchange that the government does not plan to use at trial, but they noted here, he had, with aid, person 15, shortly after the 2:24 p.m. tweet, upon receiving a phone call alerting him that Pence had been taken to a secure location, person 15 rushed to the dining room to inform the defendant in hopes that the defendant would take action to ensure Pence's safety. Instead, after person 15 delivered the news, the defendant, Trump, looked up at him and said only, "So what?" When I make posts talking about democracy is on the ballot this year, and honestly, between Project 2025 and MAGA extremists already across all over federal and state agencies, I don't know that I can retract that statement in my lifetime. I don't know. The attack on the democratic processes, just the idea of democracy in general, is just something I've never seen to this level. You know, you kind of read about it, you think about it like with McCarthyism, you get the American Nazi Party and stuff like that. There are little tales lost to history throughout America's history about this, but this is really the first time in my life where I've ever thought that democracy in America, as we know it, and I know it's not a true democracy. People are like, "Oh, it's a constitutional republic." Constitutional republic is a form of democracy. Shut the fuck up, baby Huey. While the constant battle between government regulation and free market enterprise chips away at regulations in the last 50 years, leading us towards more of an oligarchy, that even seemed less dangerous than where we are now, and where we're still going to be headed even after Trump loses this election and goes to prison. So yeah, so these videos, this isn't like, I definitely want to mock the idiots out there who are still supporting Trump, but I also want to take a serious note when I can and present the factual evidence as up to date as I can. Again, I'm not a reporter or anything. I'm just doom scrolling on social media, you know, on my breaks at work, and I see something that like catches my eye like this. And I'm like, I really want to make a video on this because I believe that there's a lot of people out there who are on social media, who use YouTube, who use all these different sites that are, and I'm not here to say like listening to people like me or people who are podcasters or dipshits or conspiracy theorists or just, you know, pumping out Russian propaganda, you know, like a Tim Pool. It's not to say that that is, you can't listen to that stuff, because some of it's entertaining and some of it you like and whatever, that's fine. but I feel like there's a large population that is primarily online that also isn't linked into legitimate sources of information. And when it comes in the packets like this, like 165 page filing, yes, I'm going to read this because I am super interested about this, but the average person isn't going to read this whole thing, right? And so hopefully this does a little bit of good in getting more people interested about this and the facts. So I'm gonna go eat dinner now. Thanks for watching.